Julian Assange just got released from prison, and his chart is an interesting one to unpack when we look at the shadow side and the illuminated side of a Bazi Chinese astrology chart. So welcome, this is Lydia with the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. I am happy to see you today. So if this is something that is of interest to you, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. So just so you know, I am a traditional Feng Shui consultant, a master Bazi Chinese astrologer, and I have been doing this work for over 20 years. And you will notice that the way that I approach my work is very much around storytelling. And so I look at each of our lives, our Bazi astrology, as a story. And you are obviously the main character in your story. And all the ways that the 5 elements present themselves to narrate the karmic, fated journey that is your life. And of course, we make choices in our life that can derail. I've seen people completely jump out of their astrology, get really lost, because when you're really lost, generally, it shows somebody that has made radical decisions, or radical decisions have been made upon you, and you wind up in a very dark place. So Julian Assange is an interesting character, right? And he is born July 3rd, 1971, and we're adjusting for daylight savings time to 2 o'clock. So let's look and break this down. I'll hold this one up for you, okay? All right, so with all my scribbles, you know how it goes. So we've got the 4 pillars, the year, month, day, and hour, and that's really the bulk of what we're looking at, okay? So you can see we've got a year of a yin metal pig, and the month, he's born in July, but it's the 3rd. So according to the Chinese calendar, which typically changes around the 5th to the 7th each month. So this is still the month of the horse, Yangwood horse, the day of yin earth ox, and the hour of yin metal sheep. Interesting right away, we see, because what I'm looking for are combinations, things that interact and things that clash. What's working, what's not working. Is there a flow? Is there a balance? These are things that nature, she does innately on her own, right? Okay. So I see that the sheep and the ox are next to each other. So this shows ox and sheep are butting heads. You've got 2 yin earth animals that don't like each other typically, and they're banging up against each other. This is conflict. What does this tell me? That his work creates conflict in his personal life and impacts or can impact his marriage. Another piece to this that I was looking at is the fact that there is a very strong presence of his own element and also the element in which he is active. The weakest element is water. That is his area of control, his area of his marriage. It's also where he holds his money. Now, the good thing is that the metal, what is his child element, if you will, what gives him motivation to be creative, is balanced, and his wood is balanced. And so because of that, I wouldn't be so concerned about water being at 10%. Fire is slightly weak at 14%. His earth is the strongest element, his own element at 36%, but it's not so inflated as we see with some famous people and politicians where it's so big. Like if I see a chart that's got like over 40% of an element, that's where it starts to tip into too much. But because there isn't so much fire, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that this looks to be a chart that is too dry. It's too dry and possibly too hot if there is fire added. And there is, because the sheep and the horse combine to make a seasonal semi-fire trio. That piece is the tipping point that we didn't want to have, and yet it's there. And so what happens is now we have a hot, dry chart that needs to have that infusion of metal and water to cool things off. So we're going to look at luck cycles, how we go through each of the 10 years that are divined by your birthday, to find where that element can come in and kind of save the day. And so we're going to get to that in a minute. I want to go over some of his luck cycles. So this clash of the ox and his sheep really boosts up his earth and it harms the water. That isn't good. So now we're starting to put the pieces together that are showing a growing imbalance. So because of this scenario, we don't want wood, because wood is going to feed fire. It's going to feed the imbalance. Instead, what we want to do is bring in that metal and water. This is also a very yin chart, and you can tell this. You can tell a man that is more in his divine feminine than in his divine masculine. And one of you, this is an interesting thing just to sway off to the side. Not that I ever go off topic. Oh my God, me and my rambling mind. I know. The divine masculine and the divine feminine is a component in Bazi astrology. And I don't know how much it's actually talked about, but it's something that I intuitively see. So when someone has a lot of yin as opposed to a lot of yang, regardless of how you identify with yourself, I have seen women with all yang charts. They are very much in their masculine. In fact, they need the balance of bringing in and allowing that feminine quality to come out more. So what is it to see divine feminine, right? Somebody that maybe is a little more passive, yielding, nurturing, maternal, soft and gentle, okay? Yang is aggressive. It's in your face. It's louder. It's a stronger, more dominant, ruling leadership kind of energy. So like if you have a woman, for instance, who was born in a yang chart, and she happens to be on the day of a dragon, this is a woman that is going to be a force, an absolute force. So this is interesting. So a yin earth ox day, specifically a day, shows me that this guy, Julian Assange, is very much a very hard worker, has an incredible work ethic, is honest, he's truthful. In fact, truth is one of his signatures. Wrap our heads around that. Now, I understand the whole thing of hacking. We all know hacking. Nobody wants to be hacked and have their identity stolen or their money stolen or anything else stolen. And governments don't want to have their secrets revealed. But what if those secrets are to the detriment of its people? Now you got a moral issue going on, right? The ethics. And why is it that our countries can't disclose information and be honest? And that's another really good question. especially in the climate we're in right now. And so you have somebody who is very dedicated to his craft. This is somebody who is a genius at what he does. A genius. This kid came out into the internet figuring really complicated things out. And he has in his chart the ability to access a global awareness of him. This is somebody who is on a world stage, destined to be on a world stage as an innovator, very much like Elon Musk. I actually kind of want to revisit his chart. Because both of these guys are geniuses at what they do. They are innovators. They're engineers. They're artists. And for Julian Assange, this is somebody that is so talented with things like not only the arts, but technology. So he could have been the next Picasso, but he just happened to be a hack genius that wanted to reveal truths that he felt the public needed to know. Now, I will say, in all disclosure and honesty myself, being born on the day of an ox, that I don't know all the details of his life or what he revealed or released, but I know that there has been a lot of controversy around it. And, the charges brought against him, all of it. Everybody's got an opinion. God knows these days, everybody's got an opinion. So, he is also an innate diplomat, and he captures people's attention, which is interesting, again, for being someone who is so yin. He's almost like a shadow, somebody that you could miss if it weren't for what he's doing. Because it's his actions more than his person, if you will, that is attention getting, for sure. So in addition to all of this, this guy is also someone who is a natural leader, prefers to be someone that works isolated, independently. A lot of computer people I know spend their days in front of their computer in their own happy little bubble, all alone. And he's somebody that really does not like to be told what to do. So in that, there is a little bit of that rebel, right? So this is also a Lu pattern chart, which is a chart that shows someone destined to wealth, fame, and success. All right, so all of this to be said, I want to mention his life pillar. Your life pillar is a secret hidden aspect of your 4 pillars. It's the 5th pillar that nobody really talks about. And your life pillar says, why am I here living this life? So indeed it does speak. This is a yang water dragon. And this is an important thing because your life pillar can literally be a hidden saving grace. We've seen this in other charts that I've read. Okay, so this really speaks of that yang water. That's what he needs. Dragon, that's yang earth with water and wood inside. It is lush springtime. So he's got these qualities, these elements there. So this yang water speaks of wealth, success, and travel in his life. It speaks of a strength, a vitality within him. It also speaks of his marriage being foremost as the most important relationship in his life. This life also speaks of someone who is exploring all sides of their identity and is destined to play other roles. In some ways, to play their shadow. This speaks then, this is interesting, of loss of money, loss of identity, challenge to his career, and his career being something, and this is a lesser aspect, but still worth mentioning, that his career is something that is a great challenge. And that as there is this big forecast of wealth, there is also a loss of money as well as an influx in the back door. So there is a lot of movement with his money, a lot of movement. It's going to come, it's going to go, it's going to flow, it's going to ebb, but it's always going to be there for him. There's also tucked into this mention of his father and possibility of affairs and also hidden health challenges. Okay, we look at his career. This is yin metal sheep. And the sheep is notoriously very musical and talented artistically, but can also be someone that is a peacemaker, a negotiator, a peacemaker, somebody that wants to make right the things that were wronged. And this is something in which he is about playing himself, sovereign. Here I am, Julian Assange, with my network of support, my allies, the people working, my team. It speaks of the government. It speaks of backing and challenge. Great challenge to his career. But again, that yin metal is speaking of someone that loves what they do, is passionate about his work. Now, when we get to his second Lux cycle, he's ages 18 to 27 here. This is 1990 to 2000. And here we have Yang Water Dragon. Now, this is interesting because why? I just said it. Yeah. This is his life pillar, and it's playing out in steroids. Everything that happened in that decade was telling him what his life was going to be about. And what happened then? 1996, he was convicted of hacking and the Wikileaks. That whole thing blew up, right? So that is part of this narrative. Everything that happened in that time really is the echo. It's going to be echoed through the rest of his life, okay? And all the elements were in play. In many ways, his chart was very balanced during this time. And 1996, in case you're interested, was a Yang fire rat year. And it spoke of the government and legal problems. Yeah, I know. And that yin water is speaking of health concerns and money coming in from other resources. Pretty amazing. So then we get to the 2000s. And in 2000, he is in a yin metal rabbit decade that brings in a full wood trio. Not good. In addition to this decade is all about a real crisis in his career. Changes, challenges, things really being hard. I'm not sure if this was when he was taking refuge in, was it Ecuadorian embassy in England, right? I think that's right. Anyway, so he's like basically on the run and seeking refuge. This whole thing with Wikileaks. All right. So, yes. Oh, and 2010, we haven't gotten to that luck cycle, but this first one that I'm talking about, the yin metal rabbit, is speaking of all of this happening in his career, a real upset, and that big surge of wood is heating up his chart. This is not a good time, and it's a void, which means that anything that can slide sideways, anything that can be hard is going to be. All right, so then we get to the next void cycle. And again, anything that can go wrong is going to go wrong. 2010, he's accused of a sexual assault. In 2012, he sought refuge in London, like I was mentioning. And then in 2019, he was jailed on espionage charges. And that's what he just got released for. Okay? Now, 2010, when that came in, that energy surges in, yang metal tiger. Now you notice it's interesting because yin metal rabbit is yin wood, conflict. Yang metal, and the yin is like somebody cutting flowers. And then you get to 2010, ages 38 to ages 47, yang metal tiger, this is an axe to a tree. Now we have a yin, the yin tiger. Tiger and horse make more fire. So again, this continued heating up of his chart. This speaks of a lot of change. I mean, like a revolution, if you will, in his life. In addition to that, government, legal problems, losing money, his career, all of his family duties and responsibilities. It's all kind of in a way, because of this void, the heat of his chart, everything feels like it's coming to a head now. And he's going to jail. And so we're then moving into 2020. His current luck cycle is a yin earth ox. It's mirroring his day pillar. This feels to me like a come to Jesus. 2020 is a self-reclamation. Makes perfect sense that he got released. Perfect sense 4 years into this luck cycle. This is him reclaiming his identity. I am Julian Assange. And within this, there are some hidden health issues. And there is also a little money coming in. And there is some activity, things that he's doing, enjoying life a little bit, maybe. We'll see. This is all very new. He just got out. And isn't it interesting? I just put this together in this now moment. Hold the phone. Life pillar dragon. When all of his computer stuff, the hacking and everything, the Wikileaks and everything started in the decade in which he was a dragon. He gets released in the year of a, you know it, dragon. If you ask me, I would say the dragon is his lucky star. I don't know, but very interesting. And the way forward, well, we'll see. And I welcome your thoughts, your comments. Please keep it positive. And yeah, until next time, friends, be well.